You're live.
Thank you, sir. I want to welcome everyone tonight to our council meeting. We're going to start with the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all the blessings you have given us. We thank you for providing us the opportunity to serve the citizens of Elkins. We ask that you guide us in our decision-making as we strive to help our community grow. We also ask that you watch over and guide our country's leaders. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I will now call the common council meeting to order and ask our city clerk to take roll, please.
Councilor Bros Friganera.
Here.
Councilor Chenoweth.
Here.
Councilor Kwanzo.
Present.
Councilor Griggs.
Here.
Councilor Guy.
Present.
Councilor Hinchman.
Here.
And Councilor Lowther mentioned he'd be here about 40 minutes after the hour. Councilor Parker.
Here.
Councilor Severino.
Here.
And Councilor Vest.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here for public comment tonight? If not, we'll move down to the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes from the, which meeting was it, since it's not on my agenda?
March 16th.
March 16th meeting, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. In your correspondence package and notification tonight, you have the approved minutes for the committees, boards, and commissions, and you have the event request, One Hope. Okay, there is no presentation tonight. We will start with committee reports, and we will start with Councilor Chenoweth.
Thank you, Mayor. With respect to Personnel Committee, I don't have a report, as we've not had a meeting since the last council meeting, but we do have a meeting next week, next Thursday, 12 noon here at City Hall.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Guy.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Hinchman.
Yes, sir. ARPA met last Friday, and we're going to vote on the appropriations that we had went over. It was on IT and an audit of the IT that we have, and we finished up with the city website and redesign, and also some GIS equipment. And the Finance Committee met Monday, and we extensively went over the health insurance with PEIA. We have no recommendation at this particular point. We're still working on it. And we have a budget adjustment for the fire department.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Severino.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Griggs.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Bros Friganera.
We just have a Rules and Ordinance meeting next Wednesday. We'll be talking about continuing the conversation in regards to the animal ordinance. We will be reviewing the sanitary board establishment ordinance. And then with planning, we have a planning meeting on Thursday at 3:30?
3:30. That is correct.
Okay, 3:30. And we'll be discussing a possibility of having WVU Law Clinic assist us again as we review the comp plan and start that process. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Kwanzo.
Good evening. Municipal Properties has not met yet. They'll be, the next meeting is on April the 19th at 9 a.m. And we're going to be having the meeting in the conference room next to the clerk's office for better hearing. Tree Board, we haven't had a meeting yet either, but I will announce that Tree Board just received 50 new trees that will be planted in the tree nursery, and we'll be doing that tomorrow. Can you hear me?
Yes. Every time you turn your head, it cuts out, but if you talk right into the mic,
Okay,
it'll...
thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Vest.
The ad hoc committee on auditing will be canceled on the 19th. There's a new date going to be picked
Okay.
Just don't know yet which day.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Counselor Parker.
Yes, sir. Under public safety, we've been getting our regular reports. We have updates now on a pretty frequent basis for progress on distressed and problem properties in the city. And we are seeing vigorous enforcement at this point, and that all is good. We are going through the legal steps required before demolition on a number of properties. As is usually the case, I mean, it's a process. And so we are processing, but we are making progress in doing that. Under the task force, if you'll bear with me on this, it's a little bit longer, and if I see your eyes start to glaze over, I'll cut it short. We are still looking for a suitable location for a sober living home for women. We are ready to go just as soon as we can find a suitable house for that purpose. We are looking, it's going to have to meet certain code standards, and of course, it's going to require some upgrades, but we're ready to go. Secondly, we are planning a public forum on May 2nd at 2 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
May 2nd at 6 o'clock at the Phil Gaynor Center. And just one of the points of focus for that meeting is going to be on the handling and use of the drug settlement funds that are now being held by the state as these pharmaceutical purveyors have paid their settlements. That fund right now is right in the neighborhood of $1 billion. That's billion with a B. And it has been created with those funds. As a part of that, there is to be a foundation established. I can't remember the name, but we have some happy name for it. But the bulk of the settlement funds will be going directly into that foundation. There is a concern that not a single dollar of that money or the earnings from that money, since it has been deposited by the state, be siphoned off at the state level, including the Attorney General's office. Secondly, that the foundation established to handle the corpus of the funds be established with guidance from major foundations operating in our state, such as the McDonough Foundation and the Benedum Foundation. They can provide outstanding guidance in how that needs to be structured and set up so that it really can operate at the highest level and the most principled level. Those foundations are very good and very responsible, and they can provide an excellent model for that. Further concern is that administrative costs for the new foundation should be paid from the earnings that have already been earned on the drug settlement funds that have been deposited by the state. There should be no need to draw from the corpus of that fund for the establishment of this foundation. If you think about what the interest might be on $1 billion over 9 months, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, because the money is already earning interest, and it should provide more than enough upfront money for that foundation to get up and running in a really responsible and professional manner. Next point, at the local level, where every single dollar should go from these funds, this is not a state slush fund. This is for action, preventative action, and for treatment and recovery work all over the state. It's the only way we're going to break the cycle. We have got to have effective treatment and recovery, and that money is intended to go to the local level. It is not meant to come to the local level at the rate of 28 or 30 cents on the dollar after everyone else gets their admin cost cut out of it. And so really want to push for that. And we intend to engage the public at this public hearing on May 2nd about this issue is one of the things that we will be talking with folks about. We will also be asking for input from the public on the types of initiatives they believe should be undertaken using those funds. Next point, asking the members of council to be present at the May 2nd public forum. We really need you all there. Please do plan on that. May 2nd, 6 p.m., Phil Gaynor Center. Is everybody putting that in their phone calendar right now? I'm watching y'all. But we need you there. And at some point, we may be asking members of council as well as members of the public for letters of support to go to the Attorney General's office to push to see to it that every dollar of the settlement funds comes to the local level. The state offices are well funded by taxpayer money. They do not need a percentage of either the income or the principal on this settlement amount to do what needs to be done in and through their respective offices. So I think you know where I'm going with this. That's all. I didn't want to belabor it, but we are really, really clear that this money belongs at the state level, and we're going to do whatever we can do to see to it that that happens. And a lot of other people feel the same way. Our community partner organizations, of which I don't know, we wind up with like 25 representatives at every one of the large group meetings. And so it's a substantial number of regional partners that we have. We also will be working in partnership with county commissions and municipalities throughout our region. It is region 4, I believe. It's emergency management regions in the state. And those are multi-county regions. And you can Google it up and see who all is in there with us. I won't just go on and on. But we will all be working very collaboratively to see to it that together we really get maximum impact for our region from this extraordinary windfall of funds. So thank you all.
Thank you, Councilor Parker. I'm going to echo his comments. I would encourage you to try to attend if you could on May 2nd at 6 o'clock. The settlement money is actually to help heal the families of West Virginia that have suffered from the damage caused by these drug companies. And we need to keep that in mind, that there's families out there that are still suffering today, and we want to make sure the money is spent so we can stop this cycle. And I encourage you when you come to bring a friend or tell your friends and put it out there on social media, which you know I don't do, but if you do it, put it out there. Please announce that we would like to have a large turnout for this, because this is a community effort to try to fix this problem. Thank you. Okay, we'll move down to staff reports now, and we'll start with Mr. Kessiker.
Mayor and Council, good evening. I have a pretty brief report this evening to give. I'd like to start with the flood control plan. We're going to begin the work on it on April 26th. We have scheduled that with the railroad. They've been very accommodating to us and working with us with their schedule. So we're going to start on the 26th by working on the closing structures. We've notified the Army Corps of Engineers regarding that. They're very pleased with that information. They wanted to attend, but they have prior engagements, so they won't be able to make it. So we're going to video the operation and take pictures and supply to them. They said that would suffice. I've been in contact with Sam Muncie. He is the engineer that we are under contract with regarding the landfill permit. He's currently working on our permit modification and our sampling requirement requests that we want to get those reduced because a lot of the sampling is redundant and expensive. So he's working on that. Once he has that complete, he'll supply me with a copy so we can review it, and then we'll submit it to West Virginia DEP. I'm meeting next week with a representative of USDA regarding funding options for the HVAC system here at City Hall. Looks very promising that we can get a low interest loan which would really be beneficial in the project. Advertisements are in effect right now and running for the demolitions as required by law. We're scheduled to open the bids on Monday, April 24th. Once we open those and we get the abatement done for the asbestos, we can start the demolition. So that's exciting news as well. Still looking at options for having some limited extended hours at the recycling containers. Had a very productive meeting, I think, earlier this week with some citizens that were concerned with the hours. We're bouncing some ideas off of each other, trying to work hand in hand to make sure, you know, we have the best interest of the citizens and the best interest of the city at heart. So we're working together with that. Hopefully we can move forward with getting some ideas there. The only other thing I'd like to kind of go over real quick is a few brief numbers. I know the last meeting I was praising our new code enforcement official for the job she's doing. In the month of March, she sent out 10 warning letters for trash. One's already been closed. 30 unlicensed vehicle notifications. 47 vacant property warning letters. 2 are in compliance, so they've been closed, and 3 have already registered. What I'm finding is people are wanting and willing to do the right thing. We just have to reach out and tell them what the code is and let them know how to go about doing it, and people are willing to do it. So it's not coming off as a bad thing. It's coming off as I wasn't aware I had to do that. Here it is, let us help you do it. So we're taking the let us help you approach instead of the you have to do this approach, and the numbers speak for themselves. So that's all I have. If there's any questions.
Thank you for your efforts, sir.
Thank you.
When is the streetscape public?
The 20th. It'll be at 6 p.m. Yes.
And is that at Gaynor?
That'll be here.
Oh, that'll be here.
It'll be here before the council meeting, yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Judy.
Good evening. In front of you all, I put a copy of our fiscal year 2022 audit that has been completed, and I'm pleased to say since 2012, we have received unmodified opinions. So let that be some of your reading over the weekend. And then also in your packets, I decided to do a graph for the fiscal year 2024 budgeted revenues and expenditures, kind of really give you a better idea of, really shows what our main revenue source is the B&O tax, the property tax portion that we get from the county, and the municipal sales tax. And then as far as expenditures, the police department has the highest budget next to streets, and then City Hall after that. But other than that, it's just business as usual. Any questions from anybody? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Chief Hines.
I'm going to try to be brief so I don't start coughing. So, for the month of March, we had 57 incidents, which brings us to our annual number of 155. One of which doesn't usually get a lot of publicity, but we had a pretty significant carbon monoxide incident at a residence last week. The guys were, you got me? Yeah. The guys were, when they pulled up in front of the residence, they were picking up anywhere from 38 to 40 parts per million of CO in the street. When they got in the house, it was over 200 and upwards around 600 in the basement. So your carbon monoxide alarm goes off at 10. So it was pretty significant. It was bad enough that it ruined the sensor in my monitor, and I had to replace it. But that's all back up and running. So we had a good outcome from that potentially bad deal. SCBA testing is ongoing at this time. They're about 85% complete with that. The week of March 20th, 100% of the hose testing was completed. All 11,150 feet passed. So we didn't lose any hose, which is a good thing. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Stokes.
Well, clerk's report, I guess I'll go through what I had in order. As mentioned, the streetscape presentation is going to be just before what will have to be, unfortunately, the second of 2 council meetings that week. We have to meet the third Tuesday of April, everyone does, to lay the levee. Unfortunately, we can't combine both meetings and do everything on the 18th because as part of the sewer rate increase, your utilities council and your utilities accounting firm are going to appear like they did last time before the second reading to take questions, and that was the only night that both of them could come. So there'll be a meeting on Tuesday the 18th and Thursday the 20th. And again, at 6 p.m. just before that meeting on the 20th, the firm that's prepared the streetscape plan is going to come present the results of all the public input and meetings and their work on that, and show you the plan they came up with. The administrative officers are still working away on the strategic plan. We'll report back as we get progress on that. Work is proceeding on the personnel manual, which is still in review. We are still looking for what I'm now calling the communications specialist, formerly known as the external affairs person. So that opening is still active, as is the HR position. I already talked about the sound system here. As mentioned, we will be looking at an opportunity to get this type of speaker technology installed, and I think everyone can see that might be an exciting advance. I wanted to introduce the new executive secretary, Liz Roberts. She started this week and has really gotten off to a great start. Seems very eager to learn and very helpful already, so it's great to have her on board. And was there anything else?
I think there was one email.
So last but not least, just in the hour or so before this meeting, we did receive word from their name changed, the West Virginia Department of Economic Development, that the city's application for the tax increment financing district has been approved.
Easy with feedback.
Blowing out the system.
That's good feedback, though.
Yeah, we'll take that. So basically, the mayor asked me to mention that because the lead work on that that got the ball rolling was my predecessor, Jessica. I don't know if she's watching tonight, but she definitely did a lot of the initial heavy lifting, getting the finance company and the legal team on board and kind of scoping out what was possible with this. So there's a lot of work on her part that's coming to fruition. Where we are in the process right now, now that the application has been approved, it's basically just going to be up to council to take up and approve on 2 readings an ordinance that would then enact all of this. So you have permission to enact it. You still have to do it via ordinance. So we're working on planning a call next week with the attorney that's advising on this. And on the timeline that was laid out before, it looks like there'd be no reason not to expect that to be done within about a month. The ordinance finally approved within about a month. So do you want to add anything?
No, I think you've covered it all, but I appreciate you covering this tonight. And the reason I'll let you announce it is because you're doing the rest of the heavy lifting from here on out, so that's why.
All right.
Anything else, sir?
That's everything I had.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. The one item that I'll mention that's on your agenda tonight is the first reading of the sewer rate increase that was recommended by the sanitary board based on the information provided by Mr. Michael Griffith. You're all probably familiar with him. He was here previously with regard to the water rate increase that was done several months ago. As Sutton said, there are going to be 2 meetings the week in April, the 18th and the 20th. At the 20th meeting, there will be a public hearing at the beginning of the council meeting, which you are required to do by law with regard to the rate increase. And both Mr. Rodecker, who is the city's Public Service Commission attorney, and Mr. Griffith, who is the CPA that works on the information with regard to Rule 42, allowing the city to move forward with regard to the rate increase. It is in stages, and I believe, hopefully all of you have had an opportunity to read the information that was provided with regard to it. Tonight is the first reading of it, and of course, as you know, any ordinance that council passes has to have 2 successful readings where both times it is approved by council. You will have an opportunity, and so will the public, at the public hearing with regard to the rate increase. It is going to be in 2 stages. Hopefully that is somewhat helpful to folks who are going to have to pick up the tab on this. But want to emphasize that these kinds of projects are never taken lightly. Everyone understands the burden it puts on those that pay for the utilities that the city provides. But in light of the incredible jump in expenses and just regular needs of the wastewater treatment and all of the people affiliated with it, there's really not an alternative to keep it going. And I think all of us in the room know how prices have impacted all of us in just about every segment of our life. Your wastewater department is no different, and the sanitary board took all of this into account before they made the recommendation. But that's how it works. They, meaning the sanitary board or the water board, they are unable to pass an ordinance. It has to come to council for the consideration and moving forward. So I think that's about all I have to say about the ordinance you'll be looking at here shortly.
Well, and as a reminder to the public that your water and your wastewater are enterprise funds, which means they have to be self-sustaining, that we cannot use money from our general funds to push over there. So we have to adjust the rates accordingly to make sure that they are self-sufficient. Otherwise, we can't provide those services. And I will echo what our attorney said. These decisions were not made lightly at all. And unfortunately, this is happening across the entire state right now. Okay, the approval of the vendor invoice payments. I'll look for a motion to approve the invoices from March 13th to 31, 2023.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving down to new business, Resolution 1630, reappointing Carol Bush to the Elkins Water Board. I'll entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion?
I will note there is a typo on the actual resolution at the bottom. It still has the name of the last person you reappointed, but by voting, you would be appointing Carol Bush, not Chuck Prosch.
Any other questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1631, authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Region 7 Planning and Development Council for GIS services.
So
To
moved.
explain this a little bit, we have decided instead of hiring a GIS person, we are going to contract with Region 7. Buchanan does this, and in the long run, it will end up saving the city money. So we felt it was the best route to go with Region 7, instead of having somebody on full-time where you also have to pay the compensation package. So we have a motion. Any other comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1632, approving the use of ARPA funds for an IT assessment and related IT needs, website redesign and go-live services, and the purchase of GIS equipment for the Water Board and Sanitary Board. I'll entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion?
I just had a question. On the summary, it says that this would dispose of most of the remaining unallocated ARPA funds. How much,
$3,000.
that's all we have left?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I don't have a comment about this, but did we approve the minutes already?
Yes.
Okay, because I think there's a mistake in the minutes. I don't know if you want to do that before we move on, or...
Well, let's take care of the motion that we have on the floor right now, if we could,
Yeah, that's fine.
please.
I just want to point it out. You can choose when you want to do it.
Okay. So, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. And we will go and have an alibi and go back to the minutes portion.
Okay, the last, fourth paragraph, there is, it says that I approve amending the motion of transferring $1,500 from the Elkins Tree Board, and that is not correct. It was $1,000. $500, I think, was from the airport.
Correct.
So just correction,
Thank you.
sorry.
Oh, you're fine. And as another alibi, I will welcome Counselor Lawler. And do you have any reports, sir?
No, I do not.
Is Parks meeting next week? Is that correct?
It'll be the third Wednesday.
Okay.
I don't have a calendar in front of me, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Okay, ABCA endorsement letter for National Speleological Society event on campus of Davidson Elkins College. I'll entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Ordinance 312, an ordinance to amend and reenact the rates, rules, and regulations for furnishing sewer services at Elkins and vicinity, Randolph County, West Virginia, by increasing the rate charged therefore. This is the first of two readings. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any other comments or discussion?
Yes, sir, if I may.
Yes.
I'm confident that I speak for council on this, though I don't usually take that liberty, at least I try not to. That not a person on his body finds any pleasure in having to levy a rate increase, whether it's for sewer, water, or whatever. I know that. The one thing that I think is really important that we keep in mind is this, that if you look at the numbers for the average household, using state figures, average household water consumption of about 3,400 gallons a month, that the cost of the rate increase will be $6 and some cents. It's basically the same as a double cheeseburger Happy Meal at McDonald's. And I think that really helps to keep it in proportion. I understand that the water rate increase that we had a while back was much more significant in its household impact. And I certainly have felt that as so many people have. But this is a much more, in terms of dollars and cents, it's much more modest. And I think we need that perspective on it. And so I offer you the Happy Meal.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1633, authorizing conditions of lease and addendum and maintenance agreement between Hart Office Solutions and the City of Elkins.
May I say something, Mayor?
Yes.
Council, this is identical to an agreement, I think it was for the street department. You've approved a very similar agreement for several other departments with this company. So I've looked at it, it looks just like the ones you've had recently.
I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any other comments or questions? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, moving down to mayor's comments. As Sutton said, we are thrilled to have Liz, our new secretary, on board, so welcome, Liz. I'm going to take a little bit of a turn on this one. It's a very sad week for us because our neighboring county, or our sister city, Buchanan, Upshur County, lost Sheriff Virgil Miller this week. And Virgil was a staple in that community, so I'm going to ask everybody to kind of take a moment and kind of keep them in your thoughts and your prayers, their family, that community, because Virgil made an impact for years. and decades in that community, and it's part of actually our task force here. So we're going to miss him, but like I said, just please keep the family and the community in your thoughts and prayers on that. I've put a lot of miles on my body the past week. I was in D.C. last week for the National League of Cities. We got to do Hill Days, so I got to meet our representatives while I was out there. I can say people in D.C. definitely know what's going on in Elkins, and they knew before I got there, which is good news. So, and I did nothing but reinforce what we were trying to do, and we're trying to identify more funding sources so that we can keep addressing the capital projects that we've identified. It was a very good conference and very good meetings with our representatives while we were there. Yesterday, I had a down and back to Charleston, and today I was in Fairmont for another meeting, so I'm tired. I'm just going to say that. So, but it went well. Earlier in the week, we had J.B. McCuskey, our state auditor, visiting to discuss dilapidated properties and the $300,000 that we received from DEP. So I want to thank you, those of you that showed up for the press conference. I also laugh about the gentleman that drove through the middle of it while we were filming, but that's okay. It happens. But anyway, JB's thrilled with our city, and like I said, he says if we ever need anything, don't hesitate to give him a call. And I will say he's an individual that always picks up the phone or gets back to me by the end of the day. So he's a busy guy, and I appreciate the fact that he takes time to visit Elkins. He's probably been here 8 or 9 times now that I've been in office, and I definitely consider him a friend and a colleague and a friend of the city of Elkins. So with that, I will say I hope everybody enjoys their long weekend and has a very blessed and happy Easter, and meeting adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one alibi. Oh, no, it was Wes's week to present, so I didn't forget Whitney, just so you know.